si Rosalita Dolores.
Some Beautiful Paths Cannot Be Discovered Without Getting Lost by Aaron Ozan.
We often get lost before we find our way. And that's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself and believe that no matter how ugly your current situation is, it is part of the whole process for your beautiful destination.
For these lessons objectives, the students are expected to first, know the concept of 9 circles of hell according to Dante's Divine Comedy Inferno. Second, be familiar how words can be used in 2 levels, literal and figurative. And third, learn the lesson about allegory and its application in different forms of literature.
Who among you here is familiar with heaven, purgatory, and hell? What comes into your mind when you hear the word heaven? The word purgatory? How about the word hell? Who taught you these concepts and do you really believe in them?
Once there is an Italian poet named Dante Alighieri who wrote a long narrative poem entitled The Divine Comedy. This poem is composed of 3 major sections: Inferno, Purgatorio, and lastly, the Paradiso. Dante created a fictional character version of himself who travels through this towards God.
Today, we will be focusing on Inferno. In the first part of this section, Dante finds himself lost in the forest and realizes that he has died. Having strayed from the right road, he encounters a leopard, a lion, and a she-wolf. Evading those fearsome beasts, he then meets the Roman poet Virgil, who agrees to guide Dante down through the 9 circles of hell. Now, we will take a closer look at each of the circles. Make sure that you listen very carefully because after this lesson, we're going to have an activity. First circle, Limbo. Having passed through the gates of hell, Dante and Virgil entered Limbo, a region populated by the souls of those who are noble in character but unbaptized, or people who did not accept Jesus Christ, including pagans and infants. Second circle, Lost. At the entrance of the second circle, Dante and Virgil encounter the Cretan king Minos, who judges the incoming souls and assigns them to their appropriate place in hell. Once inside, Dante and Virgil encounter the souls of the lustful, who in life failed to contain their sexual desires, but they are now eternally pushed against by surging winds. Third circle, Gluttony. In the third circle, the souls of the gluttonous splash against in the wet, muddy ground, blinded by the mud and chilled by the icy rain pouring down on them. Cerberus, the 3-headed watchdog, violently watches them. Virgil fills Cerberus' mouth with mud, allowing him and Dante to slip past.
Continuing to the fourth circle of hell. Fourth circle, Greed. The fourth circle is the realm of the greedy. The circle is lorded over by Plutus, the Roman god of earthly world. After Dante and Virgil descend into the circle, they find the greedy souls, both hoarders and squanderers. Fifth circle, Anger. The souls of the wrathful float in the foul, stagnant river Styx. The more aggressive souls break the surface and bark hatefully, while the more mutely angry souls suffer in the depths. Sixth circle, Heresy. The souls of heretics, or people with different belief among others, burn within the earth, bowed deep in the flaming graves of the sixth circle, lies in their claim that the soul dials with the body. Seventh circle, Violence. There are 3 subdivided rings in this circle. First ring are the souls of those who were violent against their neighbors. Second ring contains the souls who have been killed by themselves. Third ring burns those souls who committed violence against God, nature, and art.
Moving on to the 8th circle, Front. The 8th circle is subdivided into 10 trenches. In the first trench, suppers the pleasers and seducers. The second trench contains flatterers, who are mired in pools of feces. In the third trench, imprisons corrupt church officials who accept money in exchange for favors, pardons, and oaths. In the fourth trench confuses the sorcerers, who walk about blindly and aimlessly. Their heads are twisted to face backwards. In the fifth trench, burn the corrupt political officials who sell government posts for profit. The sixth trench houses the hypocrites who walk heavily wearing heavy roads of blood. The seventh trench contains fugitives who are debarred by and transformed into reptiles. While in the eighth trench, false counselors are settled in the tanks of flame. In the ninth trench, Dante and Virgil find the sowers of the country, whose skins are being peeled by demons. And lastly, the 10th trench. The 10th trench contains the falsifiers who are severely damaged by the disease for having been, figuratively speaking, disease on the society. So, this is the last circle of hell, which is the Trojan. Traitors are punished in the ninth circle, the frozen lake of Cocytus, which is divided into 4 rounds. The first round is Kaina, where traitors to their kindred are frozen up to their necks in ice. The second round is Antenora, where traitors to their country are submerged up to their heels. The third round is Ptolemaea, where traitors to their guests are frozen up to their eyes. Lastly, the fourth round is Judeca, where traitors to their lords are entirely suspended in the ice. At the heart of the lake stands the devil, the former angel Lucifer.
We have to remember that this is a work of fiction and was not intended as a completely accurate depiction of the afterlife. Dante's Divine Comedy Inferno used words that can be read into 2 levels, literal and figurative. Literal language means exactly what it says, while figurative language tends to be more complex and is not always very straightforward. Most of literary works create layers of meaning which the reader accesses through senses, symbolism, and sound devices.
For example, Virgil, who guided Dante through the first rung of the afterlife, which is hell and purgatory, was a Roman poet whom he admired the most. Critics believe that Virgil symbolizes human reason, which guides and protects the individual through the world of sin.
This is apparent from the very beginning, mentioning that Dante has been lost in the dark woods. The dark woods and the night might symbolize man's sins, while the path which Dante has lost is the future man's way of life. This is an example of allegory. Allegory is a type of work that represents ideas, concepts, or events that are different from literal events contained in the story.
While Inferno can be read as a straightforward story about Dante's journey through hell, it is also a big, long allegory for man's fall into sin. Dante represents everyone. He loses the path of salvation in a shadowy world of sin. He travels the path through hell, trying to find his way back to God's grace.
For today's activity, you have to choose the best answer among the following. Question number 1. Which of the following does not belong to the group? Is it letter A, heaven, letter B, hell, letter C, earth, or it's D, purgatory? If your answer is C, you got the correct answer. The Divine Comedy's 3 major sections are heaven, purgatory, and hell.
For question number 2, identify whether the statement is true or false. Literal language means exactly what it says. Is it letter A, true, or letter B, false? If your answer is true, you're correct.
Question 3. This is a type of work that represents ideas, concepts, or events that are different from the literal events contained within the story. Is it A, allegory, B, symbolism, C, literal, or D, figurative? Is your answer letter A, allegory? You're correct! Allegory represents hidden meanings behind events, characters, or objects found in a text.
Question number 4. What is the 8th circle of hell? A. Limbo, B. Lust, C. Gluttony, D. Fraud. answer is D. The eighth circle of hell is reserved for those guilty of fraud.
Okay, for last question, question number 5. Is the Divine Comedy Inferno based on the true story? Letter A, yes, or letter B, no? The answer is no, because Divine Comedy Inferno is just a fiction.
This is all for today. We hope that you learned something as much as we do. Again, I am Miss Deslyn Galiano.
And I'm Joselito Dolores.
And I am Miss Angelina Villanueva.
Have a great day ahead.